What's up there, Metal Summoners, as we come to you on a manic Monday off of our normal time slot. But as always, we appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for rocking out with us. Thanks for giving the show a whole lot of love. And first and foremost, thank you guys so much for supporting the artists that grace us with their time. And we couldn't be more appreciative to you than that. Got myself, we've got Angel. We're bringing a new guy onto our island of misfit toys, and we're going to have a little bit of fun this evening. We've got Brody Pero. We've got Nectarous joining us right now for y'all to enjoy. So we're going to have a little bit of fun conversation about all the things going on in their word. Brody, first and foremost, man, thank you so much for some of your time this evening, and welcome to the Metal Summit.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely, man. No, thank you again. And first and foremost, man, congratulations are in order with the recent release of Sugarcoat.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm very happy with that one.
Yeah, man. So that's the latest single. You have a music video out for that. So talk a little bit about this song, and getting it out there, and a little bit of a story behind its creation, if there's some story to tell.
Oh, yes. So I think this song kind of dates back about like 2.5 years ago. That's like when I first started coming up with the riffs, and I held on to it for a very long time because in its initial stages, I thought it was a bit basic. It was too much of just like a straightforward plain 4/4 song. But after I sat on it for a while, I started to get more creative, and there's like some 5/4 time signatures in there now, half bars, and all these crazy things. And so I eventually presented it to the band once I got it all fancy, because I don't know, I'm always writing, but you only submit the best of the best when you're giving tunes to the band. And so I think it was about April of 2023. We were at some cabin in somewhere north of Green Bay, Wisconsin, and we were just writing out in the woods. And that was one of the songs that came up during those sessions. And then it kind of came together pretty fast. It's a bit complex, so it took a bit to nail down the little intricate parts, but it's a song I think I'm very proud of. I myself came up with these lyrics and most of the instrumental, but I feel like it definitely wouldn't sound the way it does without the four of us in Nectarous. It's very special for us. We're very much into the hard rock and super funky stuff, so this is a good representation of how we like to groove.
Absolutely, 100%. And when it comes to putting out a song and obviously submitting it to your colleagues and your mates and stuff like that, and you were mentioning always wanting to submit the best of the best, how do you look at songs that you just feel are kind of like a passion project that maybe just need a little bit more to them, where it might come across sort of as like a skeleton if you're submitting it to the band, but you still feel like there's something special about the way it's been put together so far? Do you ever have any situations with songs like that where you feel like there's something for it, but you definitely know it's not complete?
Yeah. Every song's a little different, so it's hard to say how you can approach each one, because sometimes if I have an idea, I might just sit on it for a year before I even present it to the band. I might just show them bits and pieces, but until I'm actually ready and serious, I won't show them the whole thing. You got to leave them wanting more. But God, I don't know. Sometimes if you just have a little inkling, maybe you just got to throw it out to the band and see if they can just run with it. And I don't have all the answers, but that's why you are in a band, because once you put all those cooks in the kitchen, hopefully someone else can add enough flavor into it to really make it appropriately spicy for your band.
Absolutely, man. Of course. Well, let's talk a little bit about the creation, though, of this dish that is Nectarous. How did the band come together?
This band began around July 2020. We were a pandemic baby. It's me and the drummer connected. We were the first two to get this project off the ground, and then my singer Mitchell, I actually grew up with him. I've known him almost 20 years, maybe since elementary school. So, and he was a guy who was always in school plays and choir, and he was definitely a performer. And then I found out we were in the same bands, so we're always talking rock and roll. So when I needed a singer, it's oh, I definitely got to reach out to this guy. He is no doubt the prime candidate for the group, and thankfully he wanted to be a part of it. And then, we were jamming for a few months, and eventually our bass player, Elijah, he came in at the very end. And, we've been gigging and writing and recording for like the last 3 years now as a 4-piece, and it's been amazing. This is the band I've always wanted to be in. We've been very well received around our hometown in the Twin Cities here, and I'm very happy that we get to share our music with the world.
That's awesome, man, for sure. And when a band like comes together and you're putting, all the different cogs into where they need to be, how did you come across like the sound that you guys are, where you've got that bluesy feel, but you've got like a hard edge to you as well? Was that kind of the style of music you wanted to do? Was that kind of like your plan, or was it again just kind of a matter of like, the right flavors coming in and just that's what the creative sound was?
I think it was very apparent early on as we were creating the band, like we were going to be like the next thing when it comes to like modern classic rock. Like you had bands in the '70s like Zeppelin and Aerosmith, and like you don't get a lot of bands like that today, and that's the music we love. So like right out the bat, it's like we're going to write stuff like that. We fill in the gap with what's missing on today's radio, and like I don't know. I don't know how to put it, but like, we are the missing piece as far as we're concerned up here.
For sure. No, definitely, man. Are there any like current like all like of those bands that are like, out still and about like right now? Like, are there any bands in particular that you definitely would love to do like work with, whether it be tours or like play like gigs with? Like, like I would love, from the stuff that I listen to of you guys, like I would love to see you guys, go out with like Tom Kiefer from Cinderella, because he's got so much of that like bluesy rock to him. But there was also a band, unfortunately they're not around anymore, but I think you guys would have been a really cool package together in a band called Native Sons that had a very, very kind of cool bluesy but like, edge with range as well too.
Yeah, actually I'm familiar with them. Were they from the Nashville area, I think? Yeah, I listened to a bit of them. I follow them on Instagram, I believe. But no, they're definitely one of the bands out there. Like you see them carrying the torch in their area, and then I feel like we are like one of the primary artists up in the the Minnesota area doing that.
Yeah.
So it's very neat to see like there's all these pockets around the U.S. and like you don't really think of Minnesota as being like the next rock and roll scene, but I think maybe we could bring it there. But we also want to like expand outwards.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, that would definitely be cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you find, Brody, that right now you guys tend to play mostly in like, your home area or kind of like that, central US? Have you found that kind of is the majority of your gigging right now?
Yeah. Like we don't exclusively play just Minnesota. We'll go out and tour a bit. Like we've played Chicago a few times, and we've been very well received there. I think there's definitely more of a bluesier scene out there. So every time we're out there, like I think they love us way more in Chicago than they do in Minnesota. So that's been good for us. And we've made friends in like Indianapolis and like Louisville.
Nice.
So it's definitely been great to spread the music out there. We're definitely discovering where people like our genre. So it's been great to see who else out there loves this.
Oh, absolutely, man. There's a band based out of Maryland here that Angel and I have worked with and interviewed members of the of the band, and they're called the Blues Vultures, and they have that that same type of sound. It's right there in their name as well too, and they're a very, very cool act that's based out of Maryland. So like that would be a super cool opportunity maybe somewhere down the line to get you more over here on the East Coast, because you and I were talking a little bit about that off the air.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's definitely within our bucket list to play every state at least once to figure out like where we belong. And there's rock and roll everywhere. So I'm thinking no matter where we're at, we're always going to find bands like Blues Vultures, Native Sons. There's always someone for us to play with out there. And I'm glad to see rock and roll is definitely not dead.
Oh, absolutely not. No way. I definitely won't allow it. And the guy I'm about to kick it up to is definitely not going to allow it. Angel Alamo, how are you this evening, my friend? Great to see you.
Thank you. The only thing that's dead around here is Maroon 5.
We're okay with that.
I don't like dudes that don't like rock chicks. I'm sorry. I don't like rock chicks. Screw you, Adam Levine.
You've taken that so personal.
Yes, I do, because I love rocker chicks. I hang out with them at rock shows. We've seen them everywhere. Hey, Jay, I sent you the picture of me with the 5
You sure
beautiful
did.
women down at Ram's Head.
That looked like quite the dinner there, sir.
Yes, it was. You know, the show was canceled. The show went on, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely, brother.
Anyway, I just want to say congrats on the record, and man, congrats on keeping rock music alive. You know, one thing I definitely want to hit on is that a lot of like the classic bands, they get asked a lot, you know, is there still a music business? And they always be like, pretty much so not. Just curious to know, you know, what is your take on music the way that it is now? And what I mean by that is, you know, you guys have a publicist, which is, you know, really awesome. That's how we were able to get in touch. You know, what's your take on music today?
Well, from my understanding, there is like like back in the 80s, it was like glam metal and everything, and in the 90s it was grunge. But I feel like today there's not exactly like one prominent genre. It's kind of like a whole cesspool or smorgasbord of a little bit of everything, which I think is a great opportunity for like you to play like any genre of music and still have a chance of making it. And yeah, I think today, especially like what I'm doing, like the whole modern classic rock thing, I think it's really making a comeback because you got like bands like Native Sons, whatever, and Dirty Honey, Greta Van Fleet. They're out there carrying the torch, and I think it's awesome that like I get to be a part of that. I'm feeling very grateful that my band doesn't exactly sound like I'm ripping anyone off. Like obviously, like you can tell, like we're like totally doing the 70s rock thing, but like you don't listen to us and think like, oh, they sound exactly like Zeppelin or the Beatles or whatever. I think we take a little bit of everything, but in the end, we are just Nectarous. And I think it's a very open music scene today where really you could be anything. And I'm thinking it might just work out for us.
One thing I find curious that you mentioned is that you sit on on a song idea for a year. What goes through your mind? Do you ever try to go back to it to tweak it, make it better, or just have any second thoughts about presenting it?
Oh yeah, yeah. Like sometimes I'll have a song for years, and I'm thinking this is the one. Got to give it to the band. Got to give it to the band. And then 4 years later, I never presented it, and then like, I don't know. There's always a million thoughts going through your head. I think I really want to challenge myself instrumentally. Like I don't like to just do like the basic 4/4 thing. Like obviously I want to appeal to on like a commercial level. Like if I want it on the radio, like I can't just have it be over the top like a 20-minute like progressive rock song. But I still try to incorporate some of those more creative elements. Like how do I like if I'm trying to progress a song, like what do I do to make it different? Do I change the key? Do I change the time signature, the tempo? I'm always pushing myself to think in those ways. And like we're actively writing for our second album right now, and like we've got all sorts of new ideas. Like there's a lot of songs like we're trying out like 7/8 time signatures and like a whole 6/8 song. And I don't know. I think what really sets us apart is like you analyze us instrumentally, and it's like we're maybe not like the most complex, but it's definitely a little more creative down in the DNA of what we do.
So again, sorry, my mind just kind of drew a blank because I was reading a fan question, then my mind drew a blank.
No worries.
Okay, let me go to the fan question. Who was your first concert?
My first concert. Geez, that's a good question. I think like the very first like actual like national touring act, it might have been like a show of like Motley Crue and Kiss on it together.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, the 2012, the tour, whatever they called it. Yeah, I think that might have been the first, as far as I remember.
Damn. What an awesome show. Like, fuck. Motley Crue, Kiss, first concert.
Yeah. No, it was great. I remember getting I think I had like a cold and my brother had a terrible cold. So like we saw all Motley Crue, and then Kiss went on last, and I think we left like halfway through the set because we were like just so sick we couldn't enjoy it.
That's commitment.
Yep.
And Lisa, want to know where you guys are from. You're from Minnesota.
Yep. Mostly around the St. Paul area.
You guys ever get a chance to play Canada?
No, we've never left the country. We definitely had someone from Canada reach out to us on one of our pages before, like, "Oh my God, you're great. How do you ever going to get out here?" And so we at least can bring in one person if we go into Canada. So I guess it's on our bucket list.
So, how do you handle that? Because I can imagine fans will always say, "Why don't you come here? Why don't you come to Montana? Why don't you come out here?" Not knowing that it costs money to travel.
Yeah, it is a terrible world we live in. Like the logistics behind trying to get to play shows everywhere. But I think like the one upside about like having music on the internet is like you can just stream the songs or buy the merch. Like we got a merch store up, and you can support us that way and watch all of our videos. And but yeah, like honestly, we probably won't get to play everywhere, but we will try.
And you know what? We talk about rock music and, is it dead? Is it alive? But what's keeping it alive is, I mean, just like anything, it's music, like Gene Simmons once said about it, it's music business. You keep it alive by buying the merchandise, buying the shirt, buying the records, going to the shows. Um, that's how you actually keep it alive, not by asking for the freebies or none of that.
Yeah, it's an economy. You definitely got to pump some money into it if you want to see it thrive.
Yeah. That's the one thing that some fans don't get.
Yeah. Which is like the downside about the internet. People are like, "Oh, we don't got to go to shows anymore. I can just watch a video or stream a song, and that's good enough." And I don't think people realize it's not good enough.
Like my nephew, he goes, "Hey, can I go to a show with you?" I'm like, "Yes, buy a fucking
Hell yeah.
ticket, and you can come with me. You can't get me in for free." I'm like, "Nope, because I don't really know you that well."
Yep, true that.
Yeah, buy a ticket. So my nephew, if you're watching, buy a freaking ticket to a show. That's how you support music. You don't go in for free. Buy a ticket, buy a shirt, things like that.
Yeah, like all your favorite bands started out as local bands struggling to get it on, and you got to be there on the ground floor to help people get out there.
Who would you go on? Who would you like to go on tour with?
Oh, there's I think one of my favorite like up and coming acts is Dirty Honey, because like they're pretty big, but I feel like they're still new enough where I could jump on that and like it would make sense. But like bigger bands, I'm a huge Guns N' Roses fan, and they're still together in some capacity. So I'd love to get on a show with them one day. And yeah, I forget who's even out there. I think most of the artists I like, they're all dead or retired. So, but the ones that are still alive, hit me up. I will show up.
The one band that kind of retired quiet lately is Bad Company.
Yeah.
Like nobody, like they did not, like they never did, the farewell tour. They just simply went out quietly, and they were one of those like underrated bands from the '70s. Because you had Aerosmith. I remember Saturday having a conversation with someone that went to concerts in 1976, and I had to pick her brain because I was like, 76, you had Queen, you had Aerosmith, all these bands that were at their peak, before, Aerosmith before the drugs and Joe Perry leaving the band. And she just talked about how awesome that was. And I think that we're getting there because, your band, Dirty Honey, Kickin' Valentina, all of these other bands that we've been lucky to have on our show are out there making kick-ass music. I mean, and there is, and kind of like what you mentioned, there's no category. Like no one's no one's calling it grunge, no one's calling it hair metal. They're just calling it rock and roll.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I agree.
so that's the fun thing about 2024 is that you're not put into any category, and no one's looking into any category.
Yeah, yeah, we're all just creators out there loving each other for who we are, and it's a very accepting environment. So it's a it's a good day to play whatever the hell you want to play.
What's the one word that describes you as a musician?
As a musician, determined. I will not give up. I will. But whether I get famous or not, I'm just going to keep doing this. I just want to have fun. So I am determined to keep this going forever.
So, a question about the first record. Are there any songs, are there any like alternate versions or leftover material from the first album?
I don't think there's alternate versions. Actually, there probably is for Sugarcoat. We recorded a new outro on that song like a month before we released it, but it's nothing special. Like we just like reprised the main riff, and I'm thinking, oh, that's boring. Let's go and do something crazy. So we added something new on the very end, and we spliced it together. I feel like you can't even tell that we recorded like 8 months apart. It sounds like it's very flawless. So I guess there's an alternate version of that. But there is a one leftover song. It was just like an instrumental we recorded, and we never wrote lyrics on it, never played it live, but we just like we had the instrumental done, so like we recorded it, and we did add lyrics on it recently, but which was after the album's out. It's called "Color on My Soul." It's a song about getting tattoos and loving tattoos. So you'll probably hear that one day. We haven't played it live yet, but that's some song you'll see within the next year or two.
So when a song is done, mastered and done, do you ever go back in your mind and think, I should have changed this part or changed that part to the song? Or are you just completely happy and content with how it all came out?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm a little OCD. I'll listen to it compulsively, and I think I could point out like errors on every single thing we've ever done and be like, I wish I could have redone that or this or that. And I like to embrace the rock and roll lifestyle, and we go in and improvise a lot in the studio. And when you do that, like it's kind of like you don't know what the hell you're gonna get. Like it could be stupid, it could be amazing, but it's spontaneous, it's raw, it's real. I think you just gotta appreciate rock and roll in that aspect because like sometimes it's just you capture a beautiful moment and you have to respect that.
Every person I ask that question to, they say that they always go back and wish they had done something. No one has ever said, no, I'm content with how it is. They always wish they could go back and have done something, which is interesting as a music fan because again, you guys are rockers. You create the music. We're here as fans to support it. So we're always curious about the creation of it.
Yeah, all musicians are fragile on the inside, no matter how cool and badass we are. We always think we could be better, but deep down, we're just scared and insecure, I guess.
Another question. Describe your writing technique. That's a good question.
Writing technique.
Like songwriting.
I think a lot of the songwriting ends up for our band. It all starts at home. Usually, I might end up writing quite a bit of a song, and then I'll present it. But there are a few songs that'll probably come out as jams, which is probably the most rock and roll way to write a song. If you could write something in 30 minutes, it's just super spontaneous. All the parts just came out of thin air. So we've done a few of those. Like we just wrote a song last month called "Get Up to Speed," which to me it kind of reminds me of like the more punk rock Guns N' Roses songs out there. And we debuted that one last week at a show, and we're already like making merch. Nectarous, Get Up to Speed. I don't know if you can see that.
I like the color, dude, because everyone has a black shirt.
Oh yeah, I went for the American traditional style, and I feel like you kind of got to go for this more paper looking thing.
Lay out real quick. We're selling merch here as well. Hold on. No, that's not who the hell we. No, oh, sorry, Jay. I thought that was. Yeah, if you could show us the shirt.
Let's see. Yeah, it's a wizard on a motorcycle.
Damn, that's pretty. That's pretty. Get up to speed.
Yeah. Yeah, which that song is about, like, if you're driving and you're stuck behind some slow bitch in traffic and you're like, get up to speed.
So, so for people that want to get a head start on Christmas shopping, how much can they buy the shirt for?
I think it's like $20 or so. I think that's what I paid. But we have all sorts of crap online: posters, shirts. I think there's like a clock on there. We got tapestries, stickers, buttons, all sorts of random crap. So, I mean, not crap, valuable merchandise, collectibles.
You know what? Booty shorts. I can see that.
Booty short. Yeah, we're working on the Nectarous condom. Like, it's got to be musical. You know, with all the motion, it'll play a song. We're trying to work on that with some engineers out there.
Hey, why not?
YOLO.
Everybody buys condoms.
Everyone buys them, but nobody uses them.
Except for Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. Let me get to another fan question. Is there just one person who writes, or is it a band effort when it comes to the song?
Oh, yeah, definitely a band effort, 100%. Because I think if there was only one person writing, then it would be a solo project, and that's lame. In my eyes. It's definitely a group effort. I don't think I could do this all on my own, so that we definitely rely on everyone else when we do the writing, because I don't have all the answers. And yeah, group effort, 100%.
How did you come up with the name of? Excuse me. How did you come up with the name of the band?
Oh, that's a good one. So I started the band and I'm thinking, I need a name that is sweet. So I look up the word sweet in a thesaurus, and then Nectarous pops up, and I'm thinking, well, I've never heard that word before, and it looks cool, and it's got nectar in there. That seems rock and roll enough. So
Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's an original title original name for a band, because this is the first time I've heard about that word, and I don't even know what the word means. Which is awesome.
It just means sweet or sugary, so which is a good representation of rock and roll in my eyes.
I'm sorry, I was thinking about something sexual. Of just having something.
No worries. We're all thinking something sexual.
That's why I was laughing really, really bad thinking about that. Speaking of sweet, let me kick it right back up to you, Jay.
Yeah, I suppose I had a segment like this coming my way, because usually when we get out of whack with certain topics and stuff like that, it usually happens right before Angel has to take over, and then he has to like figure it out and get back on track and stuff like that. But no, absolutely. But Angel, you do know that like I love my black t-shirts and stuff like that though, dude. But my whole point of holding this one up is something that Angel was bringing up before, where, you know, it's about like supporting the bands and stuff. We had those guys on the show last month, and they were great and super courteous, and I placed my own merch order like a day or so later. I was like, no, I'm gonna get my own shirts to wear and CDs and stuff like that. But it's definitely about like supporting and stuff like that, for sure. You know, even the little stuff we talk about, like, you know, likes, shares, follows, they definitely have their place and stuff like that. But if you can't get out to a show, even just the little bit of things to order some stuff that allow for some gas in the tank, always definitely they definitely have their place.
Yeah.
100% for sure. So with everything that's going on with the current album and what you're trying to like push when it comes to, you know, getting those songs out there, playing shows, where do you look at, you know, writing new music? Do you tend to be just constantly writing and then set aside a time frame to start concentrating on a new record, or do you just kind of wait till like things periodically will hit while you're concentrating on what's current?
Yeah, I think we kind of have to set aside time because, like, the last year, like, we were always writing as a group, but like most of the time we spent together was probably like in the studio recording, and so you don't like, actually get to write the new material. So, but you know, the album came out in August, and now we finally have the time to like revisit like all these half-assed ideas we sat on forever. So, yeah, like you definitely have to like divvy up your time depending on what the main focus is for the band at whatever point you are.
Hmm. Absolutely. And when it comes to the record, there's actually a couple of songs I wanted to ask you about that I just always thought were a lot of fun. And the two songs I wanted to hit you with first and foremost were Tongue Shall Wag and Cup of Tea.
Oh yeah, Tongue Shall Wag. That's a good one in Cup of Tea. Tongue Shall Wag. That main riff. I can't take credit for that. There's this guy named Alec Dickinson. Who's around the Twin Cities here, and in the early days of Nectarous, we jammed with him a bit, and that was a riff he had, and he let me take it, and I wrote a song around it, and then ultimately he just didn't want to be in the band, but he was cool enough to let us continue with that piece. So yeah, that's a good one. Lyrically, like I wrote the chorus, but then my singer he wrote the verses, so I can't really say there's any real meaning there. The chorus was something I lifted from the show Doctor Who, so yeah, I think there's like an episode of like a William Shakespeare, and he started spouting some weird shit, and I'm like, oh, that's a cool line. Let me steal that Tongue Shall Wag, whatever that is, and so yeah, that's a nice hard rocking piece. That song's got a guitar solo in the middle of the song. It's like over like a 6/8 section with a wah. I over like a year and a half period, I did so many takes on that solo. I never knew what I wanted to do. I was always improvising different things. So that guitar solo, I'm very happy with it. I kind of went full Eddie Van Halen towards the end there. So that's a good one. Cup of Tea, that was actually one of my babies. We sat on that song for a very long time, and it's a bit more of a ballad. I don't know, maybe more like Southern rockish. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's a nice one with a lot of time signature changes. It's 4/4, then 6/8 verses, and I think maybe it goes like 3/4 in the later half. And that song lyrically is kind of like a sequel to a song off this early EP we did called "Sweet Charity," which that song is about like you're pining after a girl who doesn't give a crap about you, and then A Cup of Tea is like the girl's finally paying attention to you, but then you realize you don't give a crap about her. So it's just kind of like a toxic love story, the whole story there.
I got you, man, for sure. I mean, everybody, it also plays off the name of the band. You know, people tend to like a little bit of sweetness in their tea.
Yeah, yeah, that is true.
Absolutely. When it came to putting together the album as a whole, like you had your EP, and when you were putting together the full length, did you have a plan at the time for how many songs you wanted to be on this album?
In a way, I think like back in like late 2022, we had like a game plan. Like I think it was every 6 weeks in 2023, we were going to release a single, and like we stayed true to that. We were constantly writing and recording, but then like halfway through the year, we kind of like lost motivation on that because you don't want to rush the quality. So quality over quantity. So we kind of stayed true to that. And we kind of figured whatever we released within that period, that would accumulate into an album at the end of the year. And then, of course, we released all those singles, and then like within the year after that, we wrote a bunch of new stuff, recorded it. So like the album that came out was like a half of it was released as singles prior to the album release, because ultimately you don't want to spoil the whole album before it's out.
For sure. No, definitely. And that's always a tricky thing too. Like Angel and I talk about that on the show somewhat regularly, but also talk about it amongst ourselves, is like that, the idea of like singles versus like album releases, and like keeping, you know, new music to kind of keep your name, you know, relevant to everybody as you're setting up for like, you know, an overall bigger piece. Like how do you like it for your band? Do you fancy yourself and your band like a storyteller band where you like that full album to come out to tell everybody what you want to talk about, or do you like getting like a single out, as you can?
I think it's definitely beneficial to release a single this day and age. I think you always want to be generating buzz in some way or another, and releasing new music for a band is like the best way to do that. So, that's where the whole 6-week release schedule came into play. There was always something to be promoting. Either you're promoting an upcoming release or you're promoting something you just released. So, I think always having some sort of content is good for keeping the buzz about. So it's good to have a single in that sort of way.
For sure, absolutely, definitely, man. How did King Creation Records come into play?
King Creation. Oh, that's my bass player. He's a local producer around here. That's the name he produces under.
Oh, right.
So yeah, so that's kind of his thing. It's not like a record label or anything. It's just like a name he chose to slap on everything.
Nice.
So
yeah, those bass guys, man, they just got to have a crown.
Exactly. Yeah. If they don't notice the bass, they're gonna respect the damn crown.
Exactly, 100%, man. Angel, let's kick it back up to you for a little bit, my man.
Drummers. Sorry. Hey, drummers got to keep the beat, though.
That's true. If I wasn't a guitarist, I'd be a drummer. I think they're like the sexiest musician out there after guitarist.
Yeah, we got to think about that one.
That's up for debate. My bad.
Yeah. Oh, I was thinking, yeah, there's the website for anybody that wants to get me or Jay any Christmas gifts. There you know what? Here's something really cool. It's that you can get them in different colors.
Oh, yeah. Lots of different colors. Anything but black, unfortunately.
Yeah. And Jay, they even have, damn it, forgot the name. Tank tops.
Hell yeah, Megan will love that.
What's that? Women, they love tank tops. Yeah, they do. So they have the tank tops and the shirts in different colors. You can get them in pink, yellow, just about any color. Well, you got to go to the website and know what I mean. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. Check her out.
Yep. So check out the link. Get the merch. You got stickers, posters.
Everything but the CDs, ironically. I haven't figured out. I'm new to setting up the websites. If you want a CD, you can always hit up the band personally through our Instagram, Facebook, or Pornhub page, any of that. You send us a message. I'll give you a CD.
Got to be careful with that latter website, though, because the CD might be a little sticky.
A little sticky.
Well, just a lot of sticky.
Yeah, no comment.
It's very Nectarous. How do you pronounce it? I'm sorry, I suck at
Nectarous. It's like nectar and then no worries. Nobody ever gets it right, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'll get it right. I just gotta keep repeating the word. It's like, hey, you're very nectarous.
Nice.
They won't know what the hell I mean, but
the word a day calendar.
See, now that's the cool thing. You came up with a band name that nobody knows what it means. So when you use the name, people will be like, what did you say? And they'll be curious to Google it because that was the first thing they do.
Sweet.
And believe it or not, I've seen this happen. I'll be at a rock show. Well, I was at the Tom Kiefer Winger show. I saw somebody sitting down Googling Tom Kiefer. Like, enjoy the damn show. So it's interesting that you mentioned the band name and people will go, what does that mean? And just Google it and hopefully come up with the link to the band.
Yeah, it's a bit of an earworm having a name that you can't quite pronounce, and then you get it in your head, and you're like, what the fuck was that? And then
I gotta
hopefully people do Google it.
Yeah, and people like me, we gotta say it a few times to get it right.
Exactly.
Because we're thinking about the name.
Yeah, I hope that's a good thing that you get a name that's hard to say, and I guess we'll see we'll see.
No, for sure. You meant Brody. You mentioned being a drummer if you weren't a guitar player. How did you land on guitar?
Oh, I think you guys are cutting out.
Oh, gotcha. Try that one more time. You mentioned if you weren't on guitar, being a guitarist, that you want to be a drummer. But how did you land on guitar? Angel, can you repeat that question? I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry, might be having a connection issue here.
No,
Every time somebody talks, it's all jumbled right now.
Gotcha, no problem. I'm going to mute myself. Angel, can you do that question for me?
How did you end up on guitar?
Oh, sorry, we just came back. What was the question?
How did you end up on guitar?
Oh, okay. My dad got me started out on guitar, and he was a guitarist back in the day, and so he handed me my first one so I could have purpose in life. I don't think he thought I was doing enough with my time back in the day, so he's like, "Yeah, you got to do something." So I picked up a guitar, and I've been rolling with it ever since.
Cool. So, what's the first record that you bought?
I think the first record I bought was it's like my 12th birthday. It was Back in Black by AC/DC, which I'm still blasting to this day at 27. So it must have been a pretty damn good purchase.
What is it about that record that makes you want to blast it every day? Just curious to ask.
Oh God, there's just like not a bad song on there. It's just so ballsy and bluesy. It's just like the perfect template for like this kind of stuff I want to write, because ballsy and bluesy is definitely like my mission statement when I'm for like what I want the band to be, because I feel like you want to be able to have the soul and the feel, but you also want the energy and the aggression, and so you got to have that sort of balance and range within your writing. So it's I feel like that album perfectly encapsulates that for me.
Angel, you were on an AC/DC kick the other day, man, with one of your favorite Christmas songs.
Yeah, Mistress for Christmas.
Yeah, good one.
That's my favorite Christmas song.
I don't think I have a favorite Christmas song. At least not that I...
Well, for me, it's the AC/DC one, because you won't hear it at the mall, and it's the best one. It's definitely better than All I Want for Christmas Is You.
I like that song. But I also happen to have a soft spot for Christmas music. I always kind of have. But I love Twisted Sister's Christmas album. That's probably my favorite overall Christmas record.
Twisted Sister did a Christmas album?
Yeah, dude, it's called A Twisted Christmas, and it's amazing.
Damn, when was this?
In like the early 2000s, like not long after they got back together.
No, I didn't know they did a Christmas album.
Yeah, dude, for sure. So Brody, how would you what would you say is the current plan for Nectarous? So 2024 is coming to a close, and we're going to be moving into like the new year. Are you guys going to try to be like road dogs to keep the record flowing, or are you looking to kind of intersplice like studio writing and road?
Right now we are writing like crazy. We have made quite a bit of progress for album number 2, and I think next year it's just promote it like crazy, I guess. We're going to try to get out and tour. I'm working on planning that, and I've been shopping around this first record to labels, which is how we kind of came in contact with Pavement Records, who hooked us up with this interview. We're not signed with anyone right now, but we've been generating enough buzz and getting this out there. I feel like maybe that could be a good path to help us get things to the next level instead of being stuck as like the local band playing the same few like coffee shops or whatever. So I don't know, anything to get us out there, I guess. I don't know. We'll whore ourselves out in any way, I guess. So we have no shame.
Dude, we're the same way. But
Oh yeah.
To get Pavement Records, to get Pavement Entertainment's attention, that means you're doing something right.
Oh hell yeah, yeah, yeah. Not to toot my own horn, but I've been looking at their roster, and they don't really have any rock and roll bands of my variety. It's a little more metal and heavier stuff. So I think if they like what they hear, they might be missing out on an opportunity if they don't continue this. Obviously, whatever happens, it is what it is. But I think you got to get on this rock and roll train these days, and we might be the perfect ride for that.
I mean, you just gotta, get out and just do it. That's the best.
Yeah,
that's the best thing to say.
yeah. Whether you win or lose, just go out, give it your all, have fun, and that's where I'm at these days. And I'm thinking I'm having a lot of fun, so I must be doing something right.
Yep. Well, you know what? Nectarous. Did I say it right? I'm still working on it. Yes, I said it right. On the third try. Hey, we both came out in 2020. Yeah, so next year's the 5 years.
Yeah. Time flies by.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I mean, when you look at a band like yourself that started during like a blackout time, like, did you find that something like that maybe like helped you guys where it hurt other bands that had already begun or were continuing on their thing? Because I find that with bands that formed during that time, it allowed for more time to really sync up and communicate on like what you wanted to accomplish, how you wanted your writing styles to be. Did you find that because you weren't already trying to promote things or already trying to do a tour that might have subsequently been canceled, that it maybe strengthened the core of the band?
Oh, 100%. Like we really got to like incubate, let this cook, and I think by the time we had our first gigs, like we already had like a nice set list prepared that wasn't like all covers and a lot of originals. And actually, at the start of the pandemic, I was in a different band which I was trying to put together, and I'm very glad to say that the pandemic killed that first band right off the bat. And then I got to start this new band, which like I'm not like religious or anything, but it's kind of like an act of God. Like someone was just like handing me an opportunity, like, hey, Brody, your first band, not going to cut it. Why don't I give you something better? And I don't know, it's been just an amazing experience. And this pandemic was a blessing for me in that way, because I got to really obtain the thing I've been working my whole life for. And I'm glad to say like 4.5 years on, it's like still going. So yeah, that pandemic really worked out for me. I might be like the only person, but like, thank God.
For sure, man. What do you remember about your guys' first gig?
Oh, it was at this coffee shop in St. Paul called Cadence Records. It was actually like on the sidewalk outside. They just like threw some speakers out there, and it actually was a really good turnout. And we played a lot of covers like Zeppelin, Cream, The Beatles, Aerosmith, and yeah, we sounded great. I got a few videos of that, and I'm thinking like, wow, for a first gig, like we actually made a good impression, like which isn't always the first or the case when you first put yourself out there. Sometimes you're like, wow, I played every note wrong. I had no stage presence. I don't even look like a rock star. But I think like we really had enough time because of the pandemic that we got to be in a place where like that first show was badass. So yeah, first show was great.
Bless you. Oh, that's awesome, man. For sure. Like, how do you find when you were putting together like your like actual stage show? Like, did you find that like, the attire and the presentation flowed pretty easily between all the members of the band. You know, you didn't have to worry about somebody being out there in like a tank top and board shorts.
Oh, I always worry about that. There's always one person every once in a while that shows up, and it's like, man, you look like you're gonna go do some taxes or something. Like, I hate it when you have band photos and the three out of the four of you look like rock stars. The other guy just looks like your uncle, and it's always a struggle. Dress for the job you want, and some people still don't realize that. But no, overall, we all kind of look like we're of the same genre. It definitely all looks like we're rock and rollers, and like there's not like one of us like they look like a rapper and the rest are like a. Yeah, I think we do a good job, good enough at least.
Absolutely, man, for sure. Other people that do a great job are our beloved Metal Summoners. Thank you guys as always for killing it. As always, you guys are fantastic and we love the continued support. We're going to rock out with Brody for a little bit longer, but it is going to be last call for alcohol fans. Any final questions, comments, anything you want to pump in for Brody to answer or any curiosities you have, now's the time to do it because we always clear the board. But it is last call for alcohol when it comes to fan questions. Angel, let's kick it back up to you, my guy.
I thought we started the show 5 minutes ago.
I know, crazy, dude.
When he said that, I'm like, last call. It's only been 15 minutes. So it's like, oh, damn, no, it's been 51. So what's the weirdest place that you have come up with a song idea?
Weirdest place. I think I mentioned this earlier in the show. We were at a cabin in the woods in northern Wisconsin, and we did some writing up there. Just I think we must have. It was like April 20th. We played down in Chicago back in 2023, which is the most like 420 place to play because everything was legal down there. And we went up to the woods and just hammered out some music and. Yeah, that's probably the most unique spot. We came up with some music.
We gotta go up there, Jay. Do a show from there. Just to do an episode from there.
Don't ask me why, dude, but I think I just got awfully hungry all of a sudden. Feel like there might have been a lot of pizza boxes around that cabin.
Oh, there could have been. It's top secret information we can't disclose, but
just speculation, just curiosity.
Educated guesses.
So for excuse me, for 2025, are you guys looking at coming up with more stuff for merch? Because I mean, the thing you guys have on your website is awesome. Even with the posters, having different colors. Because bands would just post the one shirt with the one color, as opposed to your band where you guys have different colors.
Yeah, actually, I don't know if I'm going to create more merch. All merch you see there has been put up there in like the last 2 weeks, and I've been a bit like compulsive about constantly going in and adding new stuff. So I'm trying to like take a break from that because like I don't know, like having too many things on there might get ridiculous.
Hey,
but never say never.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Monday when it's what is it? What do they call Monday for shopping?
Oh, Cyber Monday?
Yeah, Cyber Monday. Yeah, that'd be cool to use that hashtag.
Yeah, it could work out in our favor.
Cyber Monday. Support bands. But it's cool because I get to pick a color shirt.
Yeah, pick quick. I can go back in and take all those colors away. I have that power.
And for fans that want to know, here's the cool thing about getting a yellow shirt. When you get the band to autograph it, you actually see it.
Exactly. We live for the autographs.
Yeah. Same thing with the posters.
100%.
So just curious to know, during the period of COVID, what what inspired the songs that you wrote during that period of time?
The inspiration was definitely within like all the music we were listening to, which I think like me and the drummer, since we were the two that started out, I know him and I are huge Led Zeppelin fans, so I think like right off the bat we could like agree like that's a big inspiration for the writing. Yeah, he's very big in the John Bonham. He's got like this. I don't think it's like a signature kit, but it's basically like kind of what John Bonham was using: big, huge bass drum, and which provides a huge sound. So definitely that.
Awesome. We kick it right back to you, Jay.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Well, when it comes to, so far the trajectory that you've had with Nectarous, like the thing that is become abundantly clear that I think is absolutely fantastic is that you definitely have not only turned it into what's bridging up to be a very successful band, but definitely also a passion project where, you're currently rolling with, guys on the same like level that have like the same goals, which is not always something, that comes easily, especially when you've only got the one record out.
Yeah, no, it's we gel pretty well. We all love what we do, and I think we're all under the we all agree that like we want to quit our day jobs. Working sucks. We want to just write music. We all know what we love, and we strive to obtain that sort of life.
Absolutely, 100%. If there was one thing that right now you could say to your fans and to the fans that are watching the show as something that you really want them to take away from your band and from this interview, what would you want them to focus on?
Say that once more. You cut out right at the beginning of that sentence.
Oh, gotcha. No problem, man. If you could say one thing to not only your fans that are watching right now, but also like the fans that are, in general that are watching this, and if there was one thing you wanted them to like take away from this interview or something about your band, like what would you really like them to focus on?
Oh, focus on the music. It's what we live, we breathe. It's all about the music. Oh God, I don't know. Like if you're into like the funky shit, the creative stuff, like Beatles, Led Zeppelin, bands that really pay attention to the instrumental, like look into that. I hate to toot my own horn, but we're damn good, and like I think people just need to hop on that train and get a little taste of that while we're still young. That way, when we blow up, you can be like, "Hey, man, I was a fan. I was there from the beginning." So hop on the train now.
Absolutely, man. 100% for sure. Well, one of the big things, for myself and Angel Brody is first of all, like, thank you so much for spending some of your evening with us. We've definitely had a good time. Our biggest thing is that you had a good time. You felt respected. You enjoyed the questions that were asked of you, and that you felt that this was not only beneficial to yourself, but for the continued success of your band.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I appreciate it. Jay, Angel, this was awesome. I think you are like doing a great job, and I very much appreciate you helping me get my music out there. So thank you very much. Nectarous appreciates it.
Oh, absolutely. It's 100% our pleasure. And on that note as well, though, please let all the fans, the Metal Summoners, and everybody watching know where you can be found, where Nectarous can be found.
Nectarous, look us up: Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, anywhere you can stream music. We got a store. Check out the links in all of our bios on our social media. Yeah, buy some t-shirts. Yeah, buy a shirt, buy a CD. If you want a CD, hit us up on Instagram or Facebook. I respond to all the messages. I'll get you whatever you need. Stream some music. And if you can get to a show, definitely go to a show. Music needs to be appreciated in person, especially rock and roll. You never know what you're going to get. So get out there and support the band.
Absolutely, man, and 100%. And do you currently have any shows coming up for Nectarous where people are able to see you live right now, or is it mostly for writing?
Yeah, actually, we have at least two on our calendar. I forget the last Saturday in December. I think it's the 28th. We're at this place called Can Wonderland in St. Paul, which I've never been there before. So I'm hoping it's going to be badass. I think they got mini golf and arcades. So if you don't like the music, go play some games and let us be background noise.
That's awesome, man. Hell yeah. Rock on, brother. Well, Brody, again, thank you so much, man. We really appreciate your time. We'll let you relax for this for the evening, but don't be shy, man. You're a friend, your family, you're an alumnus now. If there's anything that you need, just let us know. Even if something pops up sporadically and you're just like, hey, can I pop on for 5 or 10 minutes to talk about this thing that just came up? Hey, just let us know, man. We'll always say yes.
Oh, I appreciate it. It's been an honor.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, man. And best of luck and continued success to Nectarous and yourself, man. And we'll talk soon, man. We'll have some more fun in the future.
Perfect. Thank you. Have a beautiful night, fellas.
Absolutely. You as well. Metal Summoners, thank you guys so much. Nectarous fans, thank you guys so much. Make sure that you're getting out and supporting Brody and Nectarous and everything that they've got going on. Make sure that you're following the Metal Summit on our Facebook and our YouTube particularly, because that's where you're looking at Brody right now as he did this interview with those very stylish Nectarous t-shirts. Also, make sure that you're following us on Instagram because that's where our initial announcements come out for all up-and-coming guests. You can follow Angel at Angel Alamo78 on Instagram. You can also find him on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram at salem.vampire with all the bells and whistles. You can also find me on Facebook as well. And make sure that you're following Psycho Steve at The Real Psycho Steve on Instagram, as well as PsychoStevePresents.com. And we will see you guys in a couple of days. You guys saw the announcement. We got an episode coming up in a couple of days on Wednesday night with the band Wicked. They're coming back on with us. So we look forward to talking to them. But again, on behalf of Brody, on behalf of Nectarous, we thank him so much for his evening, and we appreciate you, Metal Summoners. We'll see you guys in a couple of days, and have yourselves a fantastic rest of your week, and we'll rock out shortly. Take care, be good to each other, love on each other, and listen to great music. As always, you've been watching the Metal Summit.